Today we are going to continue going through my vinyl records with artists that begin with the letter S. So let's begin. 1979 brings us Life in a Day by Simple Minds. I believe this is their debut. I probably should have done some research before I hit record, but I didn't. But I'm pretty sure this is it. Back then they sounded a little bit more like a new wave band, and even some of the stuff after this record almost sounds like experimental kind of vibe to it, but here in the United States, when we really discovered this band, it was like Don't You Forget About Me and then Once Upon a Time, and they sounded like more like almost like an arena rock kind of band, but a little bit of the different sound, this earlier stuff, but I think you'd still enjoy it if you only know that part of Simple Minds, like the mid 80s stuff. I think you'd still go back and dig some of these songs. And that's what I did like a couple of years ago, 10 years ago, maybe even less than that. I decided to I was thinking of this band and I just kind of was like, I've never dug back like too deep into like their earlier records, and I just decided to start picking some of them up like one by one, and grabbed this on CD originally and really liked it. When I got it, I don't think I'd heard any songs from it. I just probably found it on eBay or something, and it was fairly cheap and just said, let me get it, I bought this vinyl here at Freak Beat in Los Angeles. Nice, cool little record store on Ventura there. I think Sherman Oaks. Cool dudes, little nutty, good selections. They sometimes have some pretty cool sales as well. I've been in there when they've had some sales and gotten some great deals. The tunes I really dig on this, Life in a Day, the title track's really good. Chelsea Girls, really, really a good tune. Wasteland, some good stuff on here. They were on Zoom Records, whatever that was, but it was distributed by Arista. Kind of interesting. But if you're into Simple Minds and you've never heard this record, you should dig it up, because I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. And it's funny because you can see this old remnants of a price tag here. It looks like whoever originally bought this bought it at Tower Records. You can kind of just make out the old Tower Records label. Kind of interesting. A little bit of useless trivia for you today. From 1982, we've got more Simple Minds. New Gold Dream. 81, 82, 83, 84. Don't know what that's for. Don't know the significance. I feel like I've looked up online before to see what exactly that was referencing, but if I found the answer, I don't remember it. Maybe somebody out there watching this knows, and you could comment below what it means. I had this same as Life in a Day. I had this on a CD first. Picked this vinyl up at the Groove Shop. I think the very first visit I went there, they always had good prices, so I'm sure I got a good deal on this. I think on this album, they're starting to sound a little bit closer to maybe what you might be familiar. If you're not familiar with Simple Minds, this might be a little bit closer to what you're familiar with as far as like their mid or later 80s output. Some of the tunes on here that I like, Someone, Somewhere, and Summertime. First heard that on their live album that they put out after Once Upon a Time. Always liked that one. Promised You a Miracle is probably one of their... It wasn't a big hit here in the United States, but it's certainly one of their more recognizable songs, and I'm sure like fan favorites. Glittering Prize, Big Sleep is really good. It's a good record. You can barely read it. The gold is almost impossible to read on there, but... really good record. 1985 brings us Once Upon a Time. This is my favorite record by them. I own this. I bought it when it came out in 1985. I think it was the fall of 1985. I bought it on vinyl. This isn't my copy. When I kind of got away from vinyl and was buying nothing but CDs, I didn't even have a record player anymore, and I ended up selling off most of my vinyl. I sold a lot of it on eBay and maybe to a couple record stores, and two of the things that I had in that I sold that I wish I hadn't, once I got a record player, I was kicking myself that I didn't keep them. One was my original vinyl copy of this, and then I also had the picture disc of this album, which was kind of cool. So when I got the record player and I was picking up records, I was like, I got to replace this. I got to get it on vinyl because I love it. It's one of my favorite records of all time. So I did, and luckily I found a copy on eBay that was still sealed, brand new. So that was good. It came out, I guess, a year more or less after "Don't You Forget About Me" sort of broke them in the United States, and I liked that song, but I wasn't crazy about it. It didn't make me go run out and buy everything by this band, Simple Minds, that I'd never heard of. But when this came out and Alive and Kicking came out, I loved that song, still do, and I rushed out and picked this up. And it's only 8 songs. It's only got 8 songs, but I love every one of them. Once Upon a Time, it's a bit of a longer song. I love that song. All the Things She Said, Ghost Dancing, Alive and Kicking, Oh Jungle Land, Wish You Were Here, Sanctify Yourself, Come Along With. Every one of them, love it. Robin Clark was the vocalist. She was only on this album. They brought her in. She used to do a lot of background vocals for like David Bowie, and she really added something to this band, another dynamic. And they still, to this day, sort of have a female backup singers and stuff in the band, especially when they play live. But I don't know why they never worked with her again. Why she wasn't on the next album, or why she hasn't popped up. As far as I know, she never has. I'm pretty sure. I've listened to a really good interview with her on the Hustle podcast, which I've talked about before, and I don't recall her ever saying anything about working with them another time. I don't think she ever did. After this, I stuck with them for maybe 2 or 3 more records, and then I kind of just lost track of them. And then recently I've been started dipping into some of their much later output that I am not familiar with at all. But, always an interesting band. I saw them live in 2013. They played in New York, and I think it was like the first time they played in the United States in a long time. Because I remember they really were kind of making a big deal about the shows, and it was a really good show. It was interesting because they did like an intermission in the middle, which I've never been to a concert where they had done that before, not a rock show like that. But it was a good show. I really enjoyed it. I don't think they've been back playing live since. If they ever do again, I would definitely go see them. I really like the band. From 1986, we have Especially For You by the Smithereens. Cool band. Became familiar with them in like mid 80s. They were kind of like, I guess, seemed like a college rock band, alternative and everything, but they got a bit of airplay on like MTV with some of their videos and stuff. I picked this up at the Holdfast in Asbury Park. I've told the story before because I walked over in like the remnants of this crazy snowstorm to Holdfast to pick up this Agent Orange record. I saw that they had posted a picture online that they had it, and I asked them if they could save it, and they said sure. So I said I'll be there tomorrow. So we got hit with this crazy storm. I had to like walk over the next day in like, 1.5 or 2 feet of snow. And while I was there, I was like, I might as well look to see if they got anything else after that treacherous walk, and I saw this and I grabbed it. I don't think when I bought this, I owned anything by them. So it was a cool, addition to the collection. Some of the tunes on here, Behind the Wall Sleep, which I think is probably my favorite song by them, In a Lonely Place, Blood and Roses. I think Blood and Roses might be the first thing I remember ever hearing by them, I think, but lots of good tunes by these guys. So sort of 2 sad notes now that I think about it connected to this record. 2017, I finally got to see them live. I saw them in the summer at the Wonder Bar in Asbury Park, and it was a great show. Probably the loudest show I've ever been to in my life. I mean, just blowing your eardrums out loud, and it was really good. The lead singer, Pet, had a lot of health problems, and it was obvious watching him on stage. He was struggling a little bit, not singing, but just he couldn't really move. He needed help, etc., etc., and it was kind of sad. And then, unfortunately, that was like July. Then that December, he passed away, which was really sad. But I'm glad that I got to see them live before he passed away because, they're really good band, a great live band, and like I said, just loud as hell. I mentioned I picked this up at Holdfast in Asbury, and as I'm recording this, maybe 2 days ago, they announced that the shop is closing down. It's going to switch over. He's still going to be selling stuff online. I'll put the link below, but the shop will no longer be there, which is a real bummer because I always liked, it was a local place for me to go to. I always found stuff there. We'd have like 2 or 3 bins for bargain records that I always would dig through and find stuff for like nothing, $2 or something crazy. But it's sad to see, these stores close down. A little shop like that closed down. I mean, you hate to see it happen. You understand the decisions, but it always sucks, seeing that happen. But what can you do? 2009, we've got the Soft Pack self-titled EP. This I got for free. I'd ordered their record that they were putting out, also self-titled, which I'll get to. And the label, I think I ordered it right from the record label, and they sent this by accident. And when I got it, I contacted them and said, I ordered the other record. They sent me this by accident. And the record label was really cool. They were like apologetic, and they said, we'll get that out to you right away. And I said, okay, well, you want to let me know how I should return this? And they said, just keep it. It's all good. And I was like, damn, thanks, man. No problem. This has got Come On, which was on the record that I had ordered. Eat Gold, Answer to Yourself, which is on the record as well. Faith Man, I think, is on that record too. So, everything that was on here, except for maybe Eat Gold, was on the other record. So having said that, I've never opened this. It's still sealed. I've never bothered to open it. I have all these songs on the other record. I think Eat Gold, I have on CD, or I have a digital file of it. So I don't know. I just never got around to opening it. It's numbered. It's out of 500 copies. This is 364. It's got some dirty artwork on the back there. But great band. Saw them live in 2009 for the first time. I've seen them a few times live. Great show, really cool band. If you've never heard of them, they originally were called the Muslims, but they had some issues with that name. Got some kind of responses from people that weren't too favorable to that name and decided to change it. I think, and then of course they're kind of like alternative. I wouldn't call them punk, but sort of that same kind of like attitude. And I guess maybe some of their original fans were kind of disappointed that they gave in and changed the name, but who cares? Soft Pack's a good name too. From 2010, self-titled, Soft Pack. This record, like a lot of their records, is self-titled. They had this habit of, like, their first couple of records they put out were just self-titled. They didn't seem to want to give them names. Like, it's almost like that Peter Gabriel thing, I don't know if that's why they did it, but it reminded me of that. This was the record that I bought that they sent me the EP by accident. First discovered them through the TV show that I've talked about before, music video show called New York Noise. They played their video for a song called Extinction. And I probably saw that in 2007 or 8 or something like that. I don't know when that came out. But I instantly made me a fan of the band. I found the CD in Australia, actually. I found that had Extinction on it. And then this came out and I picked it up. I have it on CD. I don't know if I bought that first or if I bought the vinyl first or if I got them at the same time. Probably something like that. Come On is on here. Down on Loving is great. Answer Yourself. Pull Out. Mexico. Parasites. Really, really cool band. Let's see. Oh, this opens up a little gatefold, a little weird art collage. They've done that on a couple of their records. But if you've never heard of them, give them a listen. If you like alternative rock and stuff like that, I think you'll really like them. From 2012, we've got more Soft Pack, Strapped. Got this at FYE. They were going out of business in Baton Rouge. Everything was like 50% off, 60% off. So I think I maybe paid $10 for this. Already had it on CD. I bought it when it first came out on CD. This record, I was a little underwhelmed by. It was okay. There's a couple of songs on here that I liked. Saratoga, Tall Boy, Bobby Brown, Chinatown was good. The other ones I'm drawing a little bit of a blank on. But, I mean, out of all their records, this was my least favorite, but it's still pretty good. And this was the last thing that they've put out studio-wise or anything-wise. They never really officially announced, like, the band is no more or split up, But the lead singer, Matt Lampkin, he's put out a solo record since, and there's been really nothing that I've seen that's led me to believe that this band will return one day, but maybe they will. If they did, I'd be there. I'd go see them live again. They always put on a great show. So that is it for this edition of the show and the S section of my vinyl records. By all means, please subscribe, like the video. Please, comment. Let me know what you think of these records or any other records by these bands. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. See you next time.